Let's look at Anthony Ryder from South Lyon, Michigan, recently selected as the Lions 2020 Fan of the Year. He has a passion about sports broadcasting.
With the 112th selection in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Detroit Lions select Amon-Ra St. Brown, wide receiver, USC. One pride, baby! Yeah!
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another Detroit Lions video. Now, unfortunately, this past weekend in Minneapolis, in Minnesota, the Detroit Lions lost one of their key starters in the division rival matchup, as Tracy Walker very early in the football game came out with a very bad lower leg injury. And at the time, it was undisclosed. He did get up, he did walk off the field, but was then carted to the locker room. There was initial suspect that there could possibly be an Achilles injury or an ankle injury, but yesterday, it was confirmed that starting safety and captain of the defense, Tracy Walker, is going to miss the remainder of the season with a torn Achilles injury. And of course, that is going to hurt the Detroit Lions, right? Losing a captain, losing a defensive starter, and losing a real star on the defense, and a bright young star at that. Tracy Walker is going to have a huge impact and going to leave a huge blow for the Detroit Lions to have to recover from as they move forward in the season without their defensive captain. And the Lions this week in particular are going to have to find a way to replace the safety's production, right? Tracy Walker is a guy on defense that organizes the defense, makes sure everybody's lined up properly, is a very good, rangy, ball hockey safety, is somebody that can step up and make big tackles, somebody that can lay big hits, somebody that is long and can get his arms on the football when he needs to and when he's targeted. He is a very well-rounded, very young, but very smart safety, and there's a reason he is the captain. He is the leader of that defense. He is the communicator of that defense. And I think even in Minnesota last week, we really saw some of the struggles the Lions had in communication once Tracy Walker was no longer on the field. So today we're going to take a look at how to replace Tracy Walker. We're going to look at the in-house options, look at the guys that the Lions have on the roster right now that could potentially make the move to the starting safety spot in order to replace number 21. Now, the first player we're going to mention today is a dark horse candidate. He's a player that played the most actually last week, but I don't think we'll play the most next week at the starting safety position, and that would be Juju Hughes, who did end up playing 83% of defensive snaps last week for the Detroit Lions. He was kind of thrown in after that unfortunate Tracy Walker injury. Juju Hughes was the guy to step up, was the guy to take the field, and was the safety that was out there more than anybody else. And he has been a fairly good player, right? He stepped in when Tracy Walker got ejected in week 1. He has played a fair amount of defensive snaps for the Detroit Lions as the starting safety, but has also made a huge impact and had a huge role on special teams as a gunner, as a, kickoff guy, right? He is the guy that's usually down there making big plays on special teams, and he has quite a few big tackles on the special teams unit already. But I don't really see him being the starting safety. I think the other two players on the roster are just better. They're bigger, they're faster, they're more athletic, they're more productive, they have higher upside. You spent a higher pick on them. Both of the other two players we'll talk about today are former third-round picks by the Detroit Lions. And I think that those guys are better suited to fit what the Lions need at their starting safety right now. But Juju is very much in competition for this spot, and he actually has played more safety snaps than the other two candidates combined this year, so that experience in the defense and playing with those guys already is a big factor as to what Juju has over some of the other candidates. Now, another player that could potentially replace Tracy Walker at the free safety position would be Ifeatu Melifonwu, the 2021 third-round pick from Syracuse. Now, Ifeatu played in 7 games a season ago as he struggled his rookie year with injuries and to stay on the field and be healthy, but in those 7 games, in games that he was matched up versus guys like Devontae Adams, DK Metcalf, and some of the true premier wide receivers in the NFL, he actually played pretty well. He had 3 passes defended, 2 fumble recoveries, and quite a few, big plays where maybe he didn't where maybe he didn't bat the ball away, but was in good coverage, or just blanketed the wide receiver, so the ball was never thrown in the first place. And yes, he did give up some touchdowns. Yes, he did give up some big plays at a man-to-man cornerback position against some of, again, the better wide receivers in the NFL, right? Devontae Adams, DK Metcalf come to mind right away. But he played pretty good. He showed pretty good instincts. He showed pretty good ball skills. He had a knack for getting his hands on the football with that length and that speed. He kind of has a very good, timing system in his head of when to get his head around in order to locate the football. And he's very good at locating said football when it is in the air and being tracked. Now, with that being said, Ifeatu Melifonwu is not a natural safety. Ifeatu Melifonwu is a cornerback, was a cornerback at Syracuse, and was drafted as such. Played that position in his rookie year, but going into year 2, he is being talked about, and it has actually on the depth chart been moved to the safety position where he currently resides. Now, Ifeatu has not played it all this season. He has been struggling with hamstring injuries, again, kind of struggling with injury early in his career, but he is starting to get healthy. He has been fully practicing for a few days now, and although he was a healthy scratch last week when the safety depth was pretty deep, I would find it hard to imagine that Ifeatu won't at least suit up and play some level of snaps for the Detroit Lions this week in the absence of Tracy Walker. Now, I think Melifonwu's biggest argument as to why he should start at safety is I think he is the best combination of experience with a high ceiling, right? I think he has one more year. He has an extra year of experience on Kirby Joseph, has an extra year really of playing time, and has played more snaps than either Juju Hughes or Kirby Joseph combined. He has those reps against Devontae Adams. He has those reps versus DK Metcalf. He has those reps versus some of the better wide receivers in the NFL. And although he's transitioning to safety, he is a very fluid, very fast, very explosive, very long athlete with good ball skills. And if you're looking for a true rangy, deep fielding free safety, I do think Ifeatu Melifonwu is maybe the best combination of upside and high ceiling with that little bit of experience that you would like to see that Kirby Joseph and Juju Hughes just simply don't have at the NFL level at this point. And then, of course, you have 2022 third-round pick Kirby Joseph, the 6'1" safety product from Illinois that ended up running a low 4.4 40-yard dash, had 5 interceptions in his senior year at Illinois, and was one of the true difference makers in the Big Ten a season ago at that safety position. Now, Kirby, I think, is a little bit more natural at the free safety position. Even though he doesn't necessarily played it his entire career, he has played it a little bit longer than Ifeatu Melifonwu has, so I think he's maybe a little bit ahead on the safety department, whereas Ifeatu is just a little bit more ahead on NFL experience in that department. So I think experience is kind of an exchange. Do you want somebody that has more experience in the NFL or somebody that has more experience playing their natural position at free safety? I think that's a trade-off the Lions have to consider. But I think that Kirby Joseph rivals Ifeatu Melifonwu in every single metric that you could use to argue for Melifonwu. He's long, he's got really good ball skills, is probably the best defensive back in the draft at high pointing that football and taking it away in the air. He is rangy, he is long, he creates takeaways, he creates turnovers, he moves around a lot and just forces the ball out on situations. Now, he is a little bit raw, right? At Illinois, there were some times where he was baited by the eyes, where he was, maybe moved out of position because of just the way he hasn't learned how to play safety all the way yet, right? There's just things that as a college kid, as a prospect, you just haven't learned yet. And those are things that he's going to learn in the NFL. They're things that are going to be taught to him by Aaron Glenn and Aubrey Pleasant. And I do think that at this point, if they feel confident putting Kirby Joseph on the field, I think, and I would have to imagine, that some of those issues have been ironed out and have been fixed. But I think Kirby Joseph is another very, very good option. And I think we're going to see a real true safety battle this week at practice between 26 and 31 to see who the starting safety may be. Now, in my opinion, I think that Kirby Joseph should be the guy to replace Tracy Walker. I think Kirby Joseph, just having played that safety position a little bit longer, having been a more recent draft pick, having, I think, maybe a little bit more upside than Ifeatu Melifonwu, right, where Ifeatu is a little bit more of a gadget tool, can be used at corner and safety, kind of in a way that they were expected to use Will Harris. I really think that Kirby Joseph is just a more natural free safety. I think he has more ball production in the air. I think he's a little bit better at tracking said football. I think he's maybe a little bit rangier than a guy like Ifeatu Melifonwu. And honestly, I wouldn't be mad if we saw all three. If we saw a three safety package with, Deshaun Elliott, Kirby Joseph, and Ifeatu Melifonwu on the field, I think those packages could be very good against a team like Seattle, right? Using some of your dynamic defensive back weapons on the field, I think would be a good thing. And I genuinely wouldn't be surprised if both or if all three safeties saw the field on Sunday versus the Seattle Seahawks. But in my opinion, I think Tracy Walker should be that guy. But in the end, I think Kirby Joseph should be that guy. I think Kirby Joseph is the best combination of size, speed, playmaking ability, has the knowledge of the safety position that Ifeatu just simply may not have yet, not having played that position for a very long amount of time. And I think that Kirby Joseph should and likely will be the player to replace Tracy Walker, not only against Seattle, but likely for the remainder of the season. So with all that being said, that is all for you guys today. Let me know down in your comments below, what do you think about the situation? How do you feel the Lions should handle this situation with the Tracy Walker injury? Do you think that Juju Hughes should continue to play as a starter? Do you believe that Ifeatu Melifonwu should get his chance to shine? Or do you think it's finally time for third-round pick Kirby Joseph to go out and show why he was drafted with the 97th overall pick? I think the Lions have a little bit of a problem here, but I think it's a very good problem to have. They have two pretty good prospects with two very high upside players, and I think they really can't go wrong with either one. But with that being said, that's all I got for you guys today. Let me know down in the comments below who you would start at safety and who you want to see starting at safety this week for the Lions. With all that being said, that's all I got for you guys today. Thank you all so much for watching. Until next time, and as always, go Lions!